can tell that I'm swimming outside because I have a mark across my head where the swim cap is, and I'm getting successively more brown. So, computers. It's very interesting that the sort of salient thing about them in media is that they're digital. Oh, it's digital this and digital that, and we hear digital, the word digital being attached to various things that would be just normal, but like, you know, with digital, there's computers all of a sudden. So I guess this is an ongoing series of me puzzling at how computers are sort of set apart from the rest of the world as this sort of different and other thing. Whereas other technologies that are, you know, digital, I mean, text is digital, all text is digital. Digital just means digits, just means things that are discrete, symbolic, either they are or they aren't, that kind of a situation. And, you know, you look at these technologies that have sort of receded into the backdrop. They've just sort of, they're just part of the world now, but not computers. And computers are almost as old as television, you know, when all things considered. And, but still, they've sort of been prevented from receding into just everyday life insofar as they've always got to be set apart. And, you know, and digital is one way of doing that. But I actually don't think that that the fact that computers are digital is actually the most interesting or salient thing about them. I think that that random access is actually the thing that's of import. And what I mean by that is that on paper, you have a sort of geometry that has an orientation, right? And I mean, orientation is great, like orientability is great. But what it means is that this thing has to come before this thing, which has to, and you've only got this sort of directionality that, like, you've got this sort of, you can only have a thing after a thing. And so the firstness, like the sort of sequence, is important. And when you're talking about structures, you can only have structures that are planar. So, you know, you've got like Shield of the Trinity. This is like the most complex thing you can do, is you've got this sort of planarity of the structure. Now these are great because they are simple and they make sense, and you know, but on a computer you don't need to follow these constraints. You don't need to just they are artificial, and but what you see is these constraints be replicated all over the place, and what happens is, if you follow those constraints, you can't do stuff like this, right? You can't create structures that can overlap, that you can access any part from any other part. And that is really kind of depressing, because that's actually really, really useful, because it affords a level of complexity that you just simply can't address when you're working with paper. And so if I was going to advocate for the sort of idiosyncrasies of computers, I would say, like, the reason why we use them is to create structures like this. And this kind of a thing it affords the complexity. It allows you the space to create complex structures and manage them that paper you know, can't manage. Anyway, gonna finish my coffee.